Hi, welcome to the Immigrant Coach. Today we're going to talk about performance appraisals and whether you're ready and prepared to face them. Now, time and again, I have seen employees get stressed out as they come closer to performance appraisal time of the year. And I always wondered why. Now, let me first very briefly explain what a performance appraisal is before I get into praising it or shooting it down. It's purely a tool, a process, a system that assists both the person getting appraised as well as the person who is appraising the employee. In most cases, you either have a manager, a senior executive, or a supervisor conducting the appraisal. And it also helps to understand the gaps between performance standards. It can also help in understanding whether there are components of recommendation, developmental gaps, training gaps, and so on and so forth. So appraisal systems of today, and believe me, they have really and truly evolved over the past decades from a simple form-filling exercise to truly a developmental opportunity for both the employer and the employee. So let's get into a bit more detail about performance appraisals, and from the perspective of an employee, what is it that you need to understand. But before I get into that, I'm certain that, and I'm sure that you understand, in any and every organization, in every function or role, there are informal processes or systems in place that tell you when you join or when you start a new job, what are your primary mandates, or what are your job responsibilities, what are your schedules, what are your quotas, targets, and so on and so forth. Now, these are the standards or metrics against which your performance will be appraised. And once you understand that, it becomes easier. For example, salespeople have quotas or targets they have to achieve. Accountants have their deadlines and accuracy. Production staff have their production schedules. And so it becomes very simple and easy when you're sitting across the table with your supervisor in an appraisal. Now, before you walk into any appraisal discussion, my suggestion to you is to always conduct a self-appraisal before you go into the formal performance appraisal discussion with your manager or supervisor. And what I mean by that is to do a self-evaluation, a self-assessment that should be very, very realistic, that should be open, and that should pen down on paper your standards on one side and your actuals or achievements on the other. In case you see any gaps and you are able to identify the reasons for those gaps, and mention those as well. In case you're able to gauge and assess your own strengths and weaknesses, pen those down as well on a piece of paper. Having done this exercise, when you walk into an appraisal discussion with your supervisor or your manager, it becomes that much more easy for both parties involved in the discussion. Now, you entered the discussion room, your manager sitting there with a document where he has or she has all your standards and documented achievements or quotas. And when you start the discussion by saying, I have also jotted down some information and maybe it will be helpful for you in this discussion as well, believe me, your manager or supervisor will be thrilled to see that initiative on your part, and at the same time realize that you are prepared. So there you already got 5 bonus points, as they call it in Canada, brownie points. But there you go. So you have carried with you the document that you prepared when you were doing a self-assessment. Now, understand that this appraisal, once again, is for the benefit of both your supervisor as well as you as an employee. This appraisal should be faced or entered into, pardon me, as a discussion with a very, very open mind. We should be very proactive here. We should be willing to listen to your shortcomings, take feedback that your manager gives you in a very positive manner. Do not react. Do not become emotional. Talk about your shortcomings or your issues or challenges or gaps in your performance, and look at it from a perspective as to what are the available opportunities, what are the training courses that you can take to take you to the next level, or what are the added responsibilities that you can take on that can help you to grow in that organization. Now, when you talk about your appraisal in this manner, I am very, very confident that your supervisor or manager will also perceive it very positively, and believe me, you have a long way to go in that organization, which means that there will certainly be an opportunity for you to grow and develop yourself as an individual, as a valued employee for that organization, so that both you and your supervisor and manager build a strong relationship that's not just positive but also value added. And once again, this performance appraisal process is not just to discuss openly and constructively your present, but more importantly, an opportunity to talk about your future in that organization. And the more prepared you are when you walk into that organization, the more proactive you are, the more positive you are, the more you're willing to receive and accept feedback. This appraisal or system and process of performance measurement will truly be very helpful for you in your future. Thank you. This is Vicky Mungre, your immigrant coach, and wish you a very successful new year.